Welcome, 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 everybody. Guess what today is? It's Monday. Is it the 11th of January already?
Yep.
My goodness, time is flying, and we have a new segment, right, Luis? So this is I was want to point the wrong way. Luis over here is my co-host. He's Keller's Reseller Luis. If you guys don't know him, like and subscribe to him. I am the Lone Star Picker. Although you're going to see on the monitor, let me see if I'm pointing over here. That says Keller Reseller Luis, and that means we're on his channel.
Yeah.
We go back and forth, and I always tell him we got to swap on those days, but I don't mind. We're 2 and 1 today. We're like, we're coasting this, and we have a special guest down below here. Let's go point over here.
There she is. Right.
AKA Rebel Junque.
Rebel Junque.
Her real name is Erin.
Hello.
And please introduce yourself, and thank you for being here today.
Oh, hi, I'm Erin. My channel is Rebel Junque. It's mostly reseller content. I'm a wife, a mom, Girl Scout leader. I keep busy,
Yeah.
finding more junk to rehome.
Bring home and find somebody that's going to give it some, revitalization and whatnot. So today we're doing something a little different, and as people mosey on in our show, we notice we do it at a peculiar time, and we're talking about maybe in the future moving the time, but for right now I think it's what works for us. And I like, since we're doing a live, you get to watch it on replay. And so this is the second Monday of the month, and this is the new year, Erin, and we're going to try on a new suit for the show, and that is, we're calling it week 2. It's number 2 and strong 2, because and then we're going to have one more guest just to inform everybody, and we'll probably have to repeat that again a little later. Our second guest will come in about halfway point and maybe a little after. And it's a chance to spotlight resellers that have been on YouTube. They are content creators, and we want to specifically look at content creators that do more reselling or somehow are interested or involved in the world of reselling, I guess, if you want to call it that, or merchants. And the other aspect of it too, we'll go into it in a little bit. But so, how long have you been involved in reselling, and when did you notice your interest started with that?
I've had, if you look at my eBay account, it says I've been an eBayer since 2003.
Wow.
And I've just, thrown a few things out there here and there. I've put stuff up in the garage sale sites on Facebook, but as a business and really making a job out of it, this past March.
Okay,
I'm coming up on a year.
So since it's past March, wow. So we say past March last year, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
That ironically is kind of when a lot of stuff was going down in this world as we know it, and it's
the stars just lined up.
Very intriguing, and that could be easily where it worked to your advantage, and it also could be like, oh, what's going to happen? It's it's not a fear, but it's like it's kind of that mystery of like, oh, this is interesting. Then you find out as you go along, like, oh, this is not a bad gig to be a part of right now, especially amidst all the unknowingness, hence the mystery.
Yeah.
So
We've
you said
always been shoppers and garage sailors and bargain hunters anyhow. So it kind of, the puzzle pieces were there.
That's nice to hear that. And it's always we always like to be curious and amongst each other and stuff. Luis and I, we always notice like others are like, that's our one attraction is that we have a job, small w work, and in terms of like what we do as resellers, people look at it, oh, that's a nice hobby, or no, it's not a hobby. It's a lot of
it's work.
Yeah.
A lot of people always say that. Oh, how do you like selling other people's trash? I'm like, just like anything that you do, it takes work. It's not just you come and you buy it and you just throw it there and that's it. No, you got to list it. You got to do all that. People don't see all the work that goes into reselling.
And the initial like when you said what you said, Luis, and I know you because of the history. Maybe Erin has heard it, or I'm sure she's heard it in different ways, but not from you. But like people say, oh, why do you want to sell junk and this and that? But see that I think that's their initial negative, and I say negative reaction or interaction in terms of like when they have they start the conversation. It becomes a dialogue. It's like, oh, is that what you do? I remember my sister, she would say, oh, That's nice. No, that's not what she was really saying with her body language.
Right.
But you said, Luis, you said, oh, you're selling junk. How did that, like, what was the experience with that? Like, how did it end? Like, do you have
No,
any
it's just
scenarios?
no, it's just like, people, like I said, I've had family members that told me that years ago. Like, you
Mhm.
know what are you doing selling other people's trash? Get a real job. That was
Yeah.
one thing I heard. And this is from family members, and one of the
The
things
worst
that,
person you could hear from.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But to me, it's like, okay, you guys are only seeing this from the outside. You guys are not seeing all the stuff that goes into the reselling.
Most
Not to
certainly.
not to fast forward years till right now, those same family members that were telling me to get a real job are the ones that are telling me, "Hey, can you show me how to resell online?"
Mhm.
So my answer to that is, what happened to me selling trash? I thought you said
So
you couldn't make money selling trash.
let's go back to
Yeah.
Aaron here real quick. So, and then I want to after you answer, and I want to say hi to some people in the chat, Luis
Yep.
and I want. But have you had any talking about being mindful and like aware and like you said, you're kind of an observer person. Like you've had interactions and talking about, and I've enjoyed watching you in the YouTube world, and then seeing you lightly, I think over on Instagram too. But have you had any negative interactions or just reactions or just experiences for you
Um,
that kind of evolve around the reseller?
I
Concept.
I feel like it's been more of a curiosity than a
Mhm.
bad reaction, I guess.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But no, I mean, I don't think I've experienced any negativity like that. Like sometimes I feel like people are looking at me weird, but maybe it's just
That's what I
me
mean. Yeah,
feeling that.
that's an example.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
I'm
like you
looking
ever
stuff
go into
up.
the stores and you're shopping, and then
Yeah.
even if it's from the clerk, you ever get weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple of them know me now, so it's a little bit better.
Yeah.
But when you pull your phone out and you're scrolling through and looking at it, you wonder like, what are people thinking of me? But
Mhm.
that's something I put on myself. That's not something that nobody's
Yeah.
made any remarks or anything like that.
Well, that's a good point. I think it's also how we carry ourselves. I'm sure Luis, when he was confronted, I'm sure it was like, I can't speak for you, Luis, but I'm sure it was like I said, I wouldn't expect that from a family member, but it's
Mhm.
react to it. So like, I remember Art Vandelay, his name is Dan, and he one time talked about like, oh, I'm afraid to take my phone out, and this and that. I'm thinking, well, that's a weakness, like that can work against you because you need it in your strategy
Mhm.
too. Otherwise, you're going to like waste time by bringing stuff back, or if that's or waste time because you get stuck with it. But
Mhm.
I'm glad to hear that you've like learned to maneuver around it, and I'm sure you seem very wise. Like where you're like after a while you build a relationship with somebody. Oh,
Mhm.
hey, it's just me. Oh, okay. You find some good stuff. Yeah, today. That being said, let's go real quick. Luis, do you have some of the names here? Who's the first one that showed up here?
Yep.
I see Chuck, Back Road Bitter,
Yep.
in
Chuck.
here.
Chuck was the first one in here. Hello, Chuck.
Yeah, and then we got Back by Silver. She's
Back
like,
by Silver. How you
it's
doing,
he.
buddy?
Is it a he, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I always say it's she. I don't know why. Mimi Q.
Lego Man of
And
the
then,
Midwest. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
hey, how you doing, dude? Good deal. Hope school's going well with you. He's almost done. I think he's in his last year of high school,
I
right?
think so, yeah. How you doing, Hollywood Reseller?
Hollywood's here. Good to see you.
We got Derek in here.
And who's this Rebel Junk that keeps popping up in our chat?
How you doing, Derek?
Derek's here. Fundamentals of Side Hustling. You guys check out his Wednesday show with none other than Regina Michelle. It's a really good show.
Yep, definitely. Hello, Poplar Picker.
Poplar. That's a very I just seen you not too long ago. I think I'm getting acquainted. Yeah, we just I think we connected somehow. I think we just recently made a connection.
No, she made a comment about what I was talking about. I tell people I sell other people's crap and make a full-time income doing it.
And that's just it. When you show people, or I don't like to show my business too much, but when they find out, go, how do you pay your bills? And I'm like, doing okay. I'm
Definitely.
and it's like, really? Yeah, I think reseller Niche Mo is here. Thank you for coming, Mo.
How you doing, Mo?
Brendan
Mo had a
Sparks.
good interview over on Galaxy CD. I can't think of the exact name of his
Yes.
channel, but that's a good interview with Mo over there if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Galaxy CD Rocks, I think it is.
Yeah.
Galaxy CD Rocks, yeah. Mo, he does some wonderful interviews. He's going to probably start kicking those back up. It'd be nice once a month at least.
Yep.
He has a unique style of interviewing and engaging and whatnot. So we got Save
He
here.
was the guest over there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Brendan, for being here.
Hey, Brendan
and
Sparks.
D Resellers says, "Hey, everybody, first time join. Thank you, welcome. We hope you enjoy, and if you like this content, you guys, after listening, like and subscribe. We're gonna have Erin is below us. We're gonna she's gonna have a little short time with us, but Erin, you're welcome to stay with us when our second guest comes in about midway, and we're about to. I'm trying to figure this out, Luis. If we should ask a question." Just as and let me know as soon as you find out our second guest is here. Maybe we can merge them and ask this week 2 strong 2 question. And
okay, sounds good.
We're spelling that 2 ways, and it's like those who came in a little late. We're going to be doing a new segment today on the second Mondays of Mindful Merchants. It's called Week 2 Strong 2.
Strong 2. Yeah. And so welcome, A&D Resellers. We appreciate it. Hello, Wendy.
Nice. Wendy's here.
James Pruitt is here too. How you doing, James?
He's my neighbor. He's about a half an hour, 45 minutes from me here. And Thrifty Pickers is here. Good to see you. Hello.
Hey, good to see you, buddy.
So, Aaron, you've been doing this for a little while. I know you said you had an account since like 2003, but you weren't necessarily reselling, right?
Just off and on, not as a business, more just, I've got a few things left over sitting around that, somebody on eBay might want, kind of stuff. That's
good. But you said this last year since March. When did it consciously kind of kick in where you were saying to yourself, like, yeah, this isn't just a kind of a part-time? I'm assuming, do you consider yourself full-time or part-time?
3/4.
Good. That's a good
That's a good answer. Yeah.
Goes up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We know how.
Really what happened, I work with a local charity that has a large garage sale every year.
Oh, nice.
We set up from, actually we have a meeting tonight. We typically start setting up in January, and the sale is at the beginning of March. Well, last year we got shut down, and that's their main source of income. And so looking around all the things that were there, I thought, well, maybe I could, sell a few things on Facebook Marketplace. So myself and one of the other gals, we both listed some stuff. And then I started looking at more things and finding more value than I expected, way more value than I expected in some of the items that we had in there. And the thought that, we were just going to have to put all this back on a semi and hold it till next year. I thought, well, surely there's got to be something I can take home and start selling. And I did, and stuff started selling. And I thought, well, I've got stuff of my own I could sell. And then
you started thinking, like, I'm putting a lot of time and energy that's mine,
Yeah.
We can't help. I mean, I would think that,
Yeah, it's a cause that's very near and dear to my heart, and I absolutely 100% enjoy the work that I do for them in any way that I can help.
Did you say the name, or do you feel comfortable mentioning?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an organization called Christian Clearinghouse. And
nice.
So all of the local churches in town kind of came together and said, hey, there's people in all of our organizations that are in need. Let's find a way to distribute the funds the best way that we can. And so that's where it came from.
So this is a community service of sort of philanthropic. I never say that word.
Yeah, they kind of try and fill the gap, with emergency needs. So maybe, your paycheck didn't quite cover all of the electric bill this month. And so they'll help you get through that month, things like that. Yeah.
And the product that you said, like you had a semi and stuff, what kind of products do they afford themselves or had available?
So these are all donated items. I mean, it's a true garage sale. We don't take in clothing anymore just because there was too much, and there was enough other items to fill the space the clothing was taking up in the sale. So we have a section for collectibles, housewares, furniture. We have a large greenhouse that donates the space to us, and we fill it. I mean,
that's amazing.
Anything you can imagine in your house. There's a Christmas, there's toys, there's office, there's outdoors, there's a little bit of everything.
So have you ever found stuff in their charity that they have for sale at their price that you bought and you were able to think about, I kind of want to flip that?
Well, you know what, I did. And there were a few things that I bought to resell for myself, but there were, just loads of other things that I brought home to sell for them also. But the thing is, though, that sale is a definite source of inventory for resellers. I mean, there's people there bargain hunting. They just need, some extra stuff for their house. But there are resellers that get a lot of inventory there. You wouldn't believe the books and the electronics. I mean, just the stuff that goes through that sale. I mean, it's very important. And so for me to see all of that stuff and think, oh my gosh, we can't sell this and it's going to go back on the semi and have to sit and that's our income. I started, boxing things. I took boxes. Another gal took boxes. So I brought home things like books and purses and some Christmas things to try and start selling right away for them. And then, of course, I already had my eBay store, so I started throwing my things in there. If you guys don't know, eBay has a button every time you list an item down at the bottom. It says, do you want to donate your proceeds to charity? And so what I do is I go and I click that, I put 100%, and then that money goes directly to them through PayPal. Now I've switched.
I'm glad you're mentioning this because I've often noticed that, and I remember my first reaction was like, "Really? Are people giving that stuff to charity?" And I'm like, but then I see that it's available, and I go look at these charities, and they're legit, And
they have to have a tax ID number in order to register.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep.
That's something to be mindful of. So if anybody has a charity they hold close to heart, you heard it from Erin, you can do something like that. That's to me, that's really what this show's about. Like, what mindful methods, if you will. Yeah, that's the word I wanted to use, was methods. You could say procedures or techniques, but it's about what methods can you use and your strengths. That to me sounds like a strength that you've attributed to, your loving careness and compassion to, like you said, your 3/4 sounds like you're giving at least 25% or more to something that you care about, a charity.
And I'm lucky to have the flexibility in our family income that I can not depend on this solely. So
I don't use this word a lot, but that sounds like a blessing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep,
absolutely.
sure is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, Art Vandalay showed up. I don't know if his ears were burning, but we did mention you. Art, we were mentioning you. Yeah, and thank you for being here. He had a live earlier today. Derek, Fundamental Side Hustle, we mentioned him earlier. Is it R. Gerkman? Am I saying it right? Yeah, I always want to say R.G. Gerkman, but then it's like,
that's Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda.
Yes, that's Rhonda. I always forget Rhonda's first name. And then Regina Michelle, speaking of another R.
Hello, Regina. Thanks for coming in.
She drives me crazy with her delicious cooking. And Sola Seller here, she sells some really cool stuff too. So let's do this. We're getting close. Would you like to stay with us for the remainder show? If you have to bow out, I totally understand, because everybody has tight schedules and everybody's schedules different.
I've got a little bit of time. I can hang out for a bit.
Yeah, and you're welcome to, like I said, if you need to bow out, just say, hey, I gotta go, guys, and that would be cool. So I'm looking at 10 till. Let's do this like this, Luis. Luis had a question for you. He was one day, we were looking at some of your videos, and he's like, Luis, did you notice this? Louis? And I'm like, what was it? And tell her what you noticed.
Uh-oh.
Which one? Because I saw a few videos. That's why I want to see which one.
On the address bar.
Oh, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right. You're talking about your URL from your YouTube.
So how did that come about?
Yeah.
Tell them what we're talking about, Erin.
She knows what we're talking about.
Got her laughing.
Yeah.
She didn't think we were weird. So being mindful merchants, we have to observe little details.
Yeah.
Luis he was scrutinizing your, I'm going to find something on her. I'm going to find something. I said, Luis, calm down. He goes, why did she call it that? And I'm like, maybe she had a cooking channel. I don't know. What was was it tacos and what?
It was the taco nachos.
The taco nachos.
So if anybody goes on to Rebel Junque's, like when you look up on YouTube, it's a Rebel Junque, and I clarified this. I don't know if it was being recorded, but I asked her, why do you spell it as such? And she said, it's Old English. And I'm like, oh, okay. I was thinking it was French, but still, it's European. So okay. on the address bar, it says taco nachos. Can you tell us about that?
I sort of inherited this channel. So, well, let me back up one second. So I have 3 children. My oldest is 26, the next one's 22, and then 14. Okay. So the older 2, when they first started wanting to watch things on YouTube, they created this channel and it fed into my email address so that I could keep an eye on it. Well, when I went to find some YouTube channels or videos for something, my computer just automatically logged into that account. And so, I started using it to watch, and then I started using it to post, and I thought, well, I'll change the name. Well, I didn't realize I didn't change the URL. And I changed the name. So
I don't think you can change it now, right? Like it's,
so
you did.
Sometimes it still populates the taco nachos up there.
It's like an old ghost, right? I think I have something on eBay that does that too.
I don't know which kid came up with that, but it doesn't surprise me with either one of my two older kids that that's what it was called.
Oh, man.
So do you know why they called it that? Or
I don't.
They must love nachos and tacos.
They're
that's
goofy.
My daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That was fun. So if you guys don't know, those who came in a little late, thank you for coming and being here. Leroy showed up. Mark Johnson. I think that's Zygon Tiger, right?
Yeah. Hey, Mark. How you doing, buddy? Bless you.
So bless you. And Regina Michelle showed up here, Art Vandalay, and a few others have been here for a little while.
Leroy.
And we want to thank you guys for being here. We have Erin, Rebel Junque. She's a delightful person. If you guys don't know her, check her out. She's always very mindful when she's in the YouTube chat. She's very gracious and greeting, people and gracious of her time and her energy that she puts forth. I've seen her on other interviews. I want to say you're fairly new to the content creation community. I know I am, and and we're trying to do this thing called Week 2, Strong 2. So if you can give us 2 of what you consider, we'll make it reseller related.
Yeah.
What you consider maybe are your, and it could be in the past year. Let's even be more specific. In the last year, 2020, we've had a lot of time to reflect, I want to say.
For sure.
And this is, like you said, you started March. What have you noticed that were like 2 weaknesses that you had to confront, or you were aware, or you kind of woke up to and said, oh, that's interesting. And let's start with one of the weaknesses, and then we want you to give us 2 strengths. So let's do a weakness and a strength that you saw, oh, this is interesting. I didn't know that about me, or this is something I need to work on. It's kind of an awkward question, I know.
Well, it's not new. I'm disorganized. Can you?
You said disorganized?
That's how I operate.
You know what? Well, disorganized, it can be, it can work against you. Yeah, it depends. Like, if you keep piling stuff, piles on piles, like, well, and then so what can you attribute that may be a strength out of that, like being disorganized? What is a strength that comes from it? You know where things are, or do you categorize, or?
I tend to keep.
There's that deep breath.
Yeah, there's certain spaces that I just don't let get cluttered.
Okay.
So I know if I let the living room get cluttered, it will stay that way. It'll continue.
Yeah.
So there's certain spaces in the house that I definitely don't take my clutter into. So,
Luis, put the last popular picker what their comment was. I'm gonna have to get on to them. I don't believe that. I think that's baloney. It says I'm perfect. I have nothing to change, said reseller ever. Ha. So thank you for opening up, and being able to kind of like be our first guest who kind of want to talk about things that we don't get to talk about in the reseller community. Like one is, like, do we want to dedicate a whole show about this or a video? No, but like we can have a dialogue, and like somebody else hearing that, like, okay, yeah, me too. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I've told Luis, and Luis is like, I'm sick of hearing it. Just go do it. Is I got a couple death piles I'm trying to attack because it's about maximizing space. One of is, and eventually we'll get to it. I'm sure. Like
he's got those nice, neat bins all stacked up back there.
Yep.
Tell her how that came about, Luis. This was like this year.
Yeah.
He was in your room.
I was actually in a room, but I was so crowded in that room. The walls were just gonna burst. So my wife said, "Why don't you move all your stuff into the den since no one really uses it, and you could do that to be like your workspace and everything." So I said, "Sure, why not?" So I took the whole weekend to actually move everything out of the room to here.
Okay.
And I have all the racks lined up all the way that way, and I have some space here still. So
nice.
But yeah,
it looks nice and neat there.
Just to that's why I always tell Louis. I try to keep everything organized, so like that when you sell something, you know where it's at, and you don't have to dig through 30, 40 totes looking for one thing.
Right.
You know.
I'm gonna poke at Luis and say, yeah, but it's like we had a guest here, DC Picker, once, and he says, yeah, but you can't see me from below here. You don't know if I'm wearing pajamas or no pants at all.
Yep.
We don't know where the death piles on the floor are.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's you know. So let's play like this. So you gave us one personal, like, and I don't like, because weakness is not a bad thing. I don't want anyone to get the connotation. Weakness is not about. It's not a negative. It's just it's a reflection of like what you might be challenged with. You know, we all have our own personal weaknesses, and you mentioned the strength is. Repeat your strength. You just said a little while ago. Was about like not knowing your boundaries.
How far to let my clutter spread. You know, there's just certain spaces that I don't let cluttered.
So you do have boundaries. So like you can have it with contained within. It's like it is a bin. You throw all kinds of stuff in there, unless you're going to be that anal retention person that has a file system in it or folds or puts it in a certain way. Throw it in the bin and it's in there. I mean, of course, I want to maximize the space there to get as much product so we can sell more.
Yeah.
So here's another thing. What do you think is a weakness? And I say weakness, and we can paraphrase that or rephrase it as a challenge that resellers in general, doesn't have to be about you per se. You can, if you have something. What's a weakness you think that we can talk about more as a community that would help us strengthen?
I know there's a lot of information out there, but I still think every day there's something we could talk about for shipping. Just, even today I saw DLJ from PA. She posted, I'm afraid to ship breakables. I think, I know Tim put out a good video, but I think we could have another one. I think we could have more information about first class. I think sometimes shipping is what stops people from being resellers.
Yep.
Do you think sometimes inherent in the process of, maybe it's, I'm not saying you, but that you did bring it up, being disorganized and this and that, like we've had Christopher from Daily Refinement on, he's always talking about the streamlining of process. Like, can you get it down so you can do, sometimes I've caught myself, I have to get up, go to the next room, go get the tape, come back, do this, or, unless you have everything kind of like categorized and like you have a table where you don't put anything on it unless you're in the middle of processing it.
Right.
Processing it. Do you think that maybe part of the shipping too is like the weaknesses we have, or about knowing more about shipping? Sometimes just even the processing of it, because once you kind of feel at ease and you're in this situational, like, hey kiddos, and they do that. We got our new little resellers popping in and out all the time.
They're cute.
They are sweet. They really are. They're adorable. They give their daddy hugs all the time. I mean, I think that's a great point, Erin.
There's so many options with shipping. Sometimes I think that can be overwhelming. I think people look at the expense of shipping supplies and maybe don't have enough information about where to get the free ones or how to use them. I think I know I stumbled shipping heavy and larger items in the beginning. I know now that I just don't like doing it. I can do it, but I don't like doing it. But
I like that you said that. I like that you said that. I was watching another guest that we had, and I was actually talking to him last night because he's a Browns fan, and I'm talking to Brennan. You remember Brennan? He's the Curious Picker.
Curious Picker.
Yeah.
And I heard, and usually I have a habit. I don't know how you guys watch YouTube videos. I put it on right away, I start listening, but I scroll down and I start reading what people write sometimes.
Oh yeah. I like to see the comments.
And one of them was, I like to see what's going to happen, because sometimes I want to think. I do cheat. I sometimes skip videos a little bit, but I kind of get to the meat of the matter, and I'm like, time I watch them all the way through. And one of them was, he's like, I'm ready to give this up. It was like, he says he would be happy. It wouldn't bother him if he didn't do like VCR combos anymore. And a lot of it had to do with like the shipping, but also the storage of space and this and that. And I thought, for me, it would be like, shipping and packing, it can be a little awkward, and but I think with the community, we've given so much information, but I think sometimes it's too much. So we get confused or we forget, or like, it's so many different angles. And, it's like, what about shipping? Because somebody did a video the other day, I think it was a big name, I won't say who, was talking about how bubble pack priorities is the only way to go. And I went, wait a minute, does not you know about the difference between they call it a flat rate priority cardboard one. The next level up, everybody I never hear mention enough, and I use the heck out of them. It's legal flat rate, and legal flat rate is the I'd probably go back and get one, but it's like it's got a weird shape. Yeah,
there you go.
That's the first one. That's the flat rate.
That's a flat rate. Yeah.
You know what the so
no, it's legal.
No, it is.
It's legal.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Because
on the
it's a
legal
little
flat
bit
rate.
bigger size. So
Yeah,
what is
legal
this?
flat rate.
Go back and show you.
So here's the two.
Huh.
So oops, there we go. So the
There you
one's
go.
just a couple inches longer.
Yeah, she has both of them, Louis.
So, but here's the thing: is when I put this under legal flat rate, I got in trouble for using the first one you had, and that they told me.
Oh, you got the Tyvek.
I'm talking about this type. This type is
Yeah.
called, and it says on here, legal flat rate. I was told, or at least that's what I've been using. Well, this says mailing envelope. Well, I have old ones, but it's
Yeah.
I was told
So the legal one is the cardboard. It's like a cereal box weight.
Oh crap! Really?
Yeah.
So I've been told that's not legal, and was told that's flat rate. So maybe I'm
It
cheating
is flat
myself.
rate. Yeah. This is the cardboard one is flat rate.
Okay, yeah, but it's not legal. It's not legal flat rate.
It is legal flat rate.
It is legal.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the confusion. You know, it does say legal at the bottom.
Yep, right there.
So, interesting. Because on this one here, at one time I remember reading some of these. Maybe I'm just grabbing the wrong ones, but I've been putting these as legal flat rate, and I don't know if these are less or more than what we're talking about in the rate. But I've always put them in, and they get there. But one time I put legal flat rate on one of those, and I got yelled at. And they came back and charged me. And on the cardboard one, I went, "What do you mean it's not legal flat rate?" It's like it's flat rate, you know. But they go, "No, that's just flat rate." I'm like, I don't know. So, but that's a good question that you asked, and I think that just shows that we have to kind of be on our tippy toes at all costs. And for the post office, sometimes they can tell you something different, and you go online, it's even more confusing and discombobulated. So you got to be really mindful about that stuff. That's a good one. What do you think is a strength that we all share as resellers, or could
bolos forever. You know, whenever you share a sale and something that moved fast, something that moved well, where to find something. I mean, just the amount of sharing of information. I mean, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now without the gazillions of videos that I have watched. I've taken in so much information from resellers that are just willing to sit down, record themselves talking, show their shopping, show their prices, you know, how they make a profit, how they buy low. I mean, it's mind-boggling how much information is out there, but it's also invaluable. Like, you just can't even put a price on it.
Oh, that's awesome. So I see 3 Gen Hustles here in the house. Is he in the background?
Yes, he is.
Oh, well, let's let him on.
All right.
And we're going to introduce everybody, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say hello to our next guest, 3 Gen Julian. I love that. Hey, welcome.
Hello.
What's up, brother?
Fellas, how you doing?
We're happy to have you. Man. This is good.
Thanks for having me.
joining
This
us.
is my first one, so you know, we'll see how I do. I'm nervous.
We'll
I'm
be.
quite nervous,
We won't
so.
beat you up too much.
Oh,
No,
Just be yourself, bro. Don't worry about it. You'll be good.
All right.
that's the main thing. Well, we're just happy to have you. We told everybody. You probably, I don't know if you had us in the background, but you know, we're calling this week 2, strong 2. Aaron just pulled us through some really great answers and questions, but we're going to ask you kind of along the same lines. We're going to do you in reverse. We're going to ask you these questions, and then we're going to go back out into your story and let you talk a little bit about your history.
Yep.
Okay.
We were talking about, first of all, you guys, if you don't know, this is Julian down here. He's been really an adamant part of our community. He may consider himself new, but he's been around for a while. And so, like I said, you guys, if you don't know him, like and subscribe. And Luis has been so kind. He's been putting the links through their Instagrams and YouTube for the content creation. So Julian is both a content creator. I understand he's an artist, I found out today. And he does also reselling. How
Reselling, yep.
full-time or part-time, Julian?
I'm part-time right now.
Part-time right now. Good. Okay, so let's start this off, and then Aaron, if you need to take off, we understand, but you're welcome. We're just gonna let her stick around here and be the one that's gonna protect you from us.
I think I'm going to hang out in the chat, but I'm going to turn my video off now. But
That's fine.
I greatly appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
No, appreciate you being on with us,
Aaron,
Aaron.
everybody, you guys like and subscribe. Aaron, say hi to her when you see it in the chat. Thank you for your answers, and we'll have to have you guys on as another guest at another time. Okay.
Yeah, let me know. I'd be glad to come back. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, so Julian, so thank you for being here. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. So we got this thing called Week 2 Strong 2. We're in the second week of the month. We call it Strong 2 because we just had Aaron, and now we have you. We know we are resellers, and you guys have you're Strong 2 that are in the community, both as content creators and resellers. It's a personal weakness that you've observed since 2020. And what is it you saw about yourself? And remember, weakness is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a challenge that you've seen inherent in yourself that you'd like to see change and have an opportunity to grow as a reseller.
Man, there's a couple of things. I mean, just me being nervous in front of the camera. Like, I come from the entertainment industry, not on the artist side. I was more on the business side. So I did marketing and branding for artists. I did management. I did tour management. I was always behind the scenes, always. And, behind the camera, I never I've been with tons of huge names, and I was so shy to even ask for a picture. Even when I'm doing work for them, it's just always been a weakness of mine. So now, trying to do the YouTube thing, I struggle with that, So that's one.
But creativity, and a good artistry. You
Yep.
I would like to think so. I mean, everyone has their own perspective as well. So what I consider good might not be what you consider good, So I have my own perspective on the art portion of it. And then on the reselling side, I struggle. When I left the industry, I left because, I didn't like the person I had become. And I just kind of left it all behind to rebuild my life, rebuild my marriage and stuff like that. And I fell into a depression because of that. And so ever since then, I kind of go in and out. So sometimes I won't list for weeks just because I don't have the motivation. I don't have the drive to kind of do it. And it's now that I found this community, I'm so motivated. But now my problem is I'm always in the chat. I'm always watching the lives just because I feel like I found people who understand what a lot of people when I left the industry, they're like, why? What are you doing? You were doing such great things and you're going to resell, you guys were talking about junk, other people's junk.
Yep.
Luis, you were mentioning that. Even my own family, they were like, what are you doing? You were, up there and now you're going all the way to the bottom. And, I struggle with that as well. So.
That's good. I'm glad you put that in the terms of struggle because the whole idea behind the premise of this program, and it is a program we're hoping to afford not just to resellers, but maybe their families or their friends so that they see it and they catch an episode because they're actually maybe watching their own love or something or somebody they relate to or friends. They're going to see that we have this human side to us. And so when you put it as gently as that, I think it shows a vulnerability. To me, a weakness, people look at a vulnerability as a weakness. To me, that's quite the antithesis. It's actually a strength because we get to learn from that. We get to know that, that's who I am, I was at one time, and that is a challenge that I have. But mindfully, you got to come to terms and go, okay, then now that I'm aware of it, what do I get to do with this gift? You know what I mean? And so I got to tell you something. I want to say, you just came on here bare and naked, and we're right there willing to talk about it. And so a lot of people, we challenge a lot of resellers, talk about what your difficulties are, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it because it seems like maybe they're embarrassed. I don't know, but we do get lonely. I know I do. Luis, I'm sure he has his temperamental moments and stuff like that. But you mentioned something about because of this community, but then you said you found yourself on here a lot, right? So I got a question that I meant to ask Aaron, but I'm going to go ahead and gift that to you. It's do you have a limit of how much social media you take in order so that it doesn't penetrate your home, the walls of your home? so to speak. You know, up here, body, mind, and spirit, and in actually your physical home. So your kids. Do you have children, by the way?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have a 13-year-old who, like my name, 3Gen Hustle, came because after I started reselling, I was able to save enough money to put a down payment on a house. And so my
Congratulations.
father-in-law, thank you so much. My father-in-law observed that, and then he's like, teach me. I want to do that. I want to buy a house, you know? So I taught him, and then now, you know, kind of looking at the social media, looking at like I'm in my son's room right now because we're getting renovations done downstairs. But like if you look behind me, he has a Switch, a PS5, like all sorts of games, and that's all he does. So I'm like, nah, I got to teach you something. Let me teach you how to resell. Let me teach you how to pick. Let me teach you how to take pictures. He hates shipping. That's the only portion that I do for him for now. But just kind of giving him those values, that base.
That's awesome.
As to answer your question, as far as social media, I just came back on social media. I was away for maybe 5 years where I just couldn't do it anymore. Just coming from that side of
took a little retreat. Sounds like.
Oh yeah, it affected me, man. Like just watching like where other people are. Like I always compare myself. Like I saw people I went to high school with. Like, oh, they got this, they got that, and I struggled with that. Like, oh, so I just cut it off. I said, no, I can't do that. That's not healthy for me.
That's
and
them,
so I knew my
you.
limit.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's why and now I'm like, I kind of evolved a little bit through the depression, through everything. And now I'm back. I don't let that affect me. And, you know, I'm just kind of focusing on the reselling stuff.
And I'm glad you're obviously aware and astute, because I watch you like in the chats, Julian, and I've seen, you know, one way I look at people when I meet them, it's just how they interact with other people.
Yeah.
You know, you've always been, you know, nice and kind. You greet people, you acknowledge them, and you know, I see the interactions that you're showing interest in things, you know, and I thought this guy's going to be here for a while. I know you may be new to people that they don't know your name, but I can see that you have a genuine interest, and so you know, I think it's our responsibility is that we gotta help lift each other up. You know, that's what Luis and I talk about is like, what can we do? We can talk about, oh, we're all part of this community and this and that, but yeah, there's bubbles within bubbles and bubbles, and that's okay. As long as we're all like in the end result, like, can we support each other in one way, and can we be respectful to each other? You know, you know, you saw it in your industry. I'm sure you saw there were circles and circles, but you could still collaborate at times. There's times you can maybe not get what somebody's doing, but you can be there and support them and help lift them up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so absolutely.
Awesome. Give me a strength of yours.
A strength, I mean, just having my background, just I approach like the YouTube stuff with a different eye, and even like the selling. So like the last video I put up was a short, right? And I was trying to sell a game for higher than anybody else, you know, any comp, any sold, and just trying to show people that you don't have to list your items for a low amount or lower than everyone else. Like if you take your time with the pictures, right, give it a little bit more quality, build the trust in the listing. You can sell your items for even more, and that just comes from the background.
Trust, you said?
Yeah, that's why I call it building trust in the listing, because you know, you have 2 seconds, sometimes even less than a second, to captivate someone. So like that very first picture that you put up has to be high quality. You know what I'm saying? So people can actually click on it.
At least to pull them in and say, you know, let me look, and hey, I noticed you didn't have enough pictures. Can you send me one more from this angle or something? And if they're genuine, that means you got a hook, you know. And the trust aspect, I think I'm following you because I'm a big detail-oriented person. You sound like you're about details, because if you're in the business, you had to be very organized, right? You had to have the paperwork structured. You had to have the contracts. You had to have that relationship so there was understanding there. But like, it's the same thing goes, whether you're on eBay or anything else. If you don't have the right information there for them to trust that you're going to be the person that they can buy from, how are you supposed to go forward? You know, like right now, I found a piece of art I meant to tell. I told Luis, I texted him. He's like, well, you know, I'll show you a little later, you know. But I found this piece of art. It is actually, turns out it's an actual piece of art. It's signed by an artist. It's from Mexico, but it's of a Toltec figure, and it's only this big. I looked all over. He's got tons of other ones, but not one like this. It's glass, you know. So how do you build that trust to say, hey, listen, I did my homework. This is the artist. Here's you know, here's the actual legitimate, you know, autograph. Here's the details about it. Here's the homework. This is who that man is. This is the museum. You know, you got to build that height, you know, like being a content creator. This is who I am. This is what I got to bring to you. Here it is, the information. Thank you so much. And it's very much like being a car salesman at times. You've got to fit all that information in there.
Yep.
And so that's great. I'm glad you have that as a strength. Give me a weakness that you would think from the time you've been here so far, and maybe just the time is because you've done reselling in the past, right? Not just lately.
Yeah, I mean, on eBay, I've been reselling for about 4 years now.
Okay.
I took a big break and I just started again maybe October of last year, and that's kind of when I started making videos as well.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, I've been a reseller in general for a long time. I used to resell cars. Like in New York, I used to go to the sheriff's auction. That's like when you can't pay your tickets and your car gets booted, or
I know about
you get
those.
arrested.
I live in Queens. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're from Queens too?
Yeah, man. I grew up in Queens and all over. Though. We were poor, so we used to get kicked out.
Please tell me you're a Mets fan. Please tell me you're a Mets fan.
1000%. Yeah.
Finally, we got a Dodgers fan over here, you know, and we got a Mets. No, I love them Yankees too, but come on, man. You know, when you're in Queens and you get to see some games, that's good. So, give me a weakness you think resellers can use to help elevate themselves. You get what I'm saying?
No.
So like a challenge inherent in for something that you think resellers can like maybe work on to become better resellers. What do you think? And it could be about yourself, you know, or something you see, like, you know, what are we like it just in general, like you've been watching videos. I know you're out there watching, right? You're listening, you're engaging. What is it doesn't have to be like a negative. It could just be like, what is a challenge that we have that's kind of a weakness that resellers can use to strengthen up? And it could be about anything. It could be about communication. It could be about, you know, how we work in our community. It could be how we strategize. Maybe it's mental health, you know, or mental well-being or something, you know.
Man, I'll go back to the picture thing as well. Like I've been looking at a lot of people's stores and things like that. And just the whole, for example, like I don't know if you guys have a Five Below by you. You know what that store is?
Luis talks about it all the time.
So I do a lot of like retail arbitrage.
You're on mute, bro.
Say it again.
Yep. No, I'm saying a lot of people sleep on Five Below, but go ahead. Go ahead,
for real. Yep. So
it's a giant on Five Below.
They had gaming headphones, right? That light up. And I think these speakers here are like from Five Below. But I noticed like they were $5, and then I'm looking on eBay, I'm looking on Amazon, like the lowest priced ones were like $19.99, right? So the thing is, the packaging looked like straight up something from China, looked cheap. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I took them out of the packaging, I put them on a wall, I lit them, so I plugged them in so they light up red, let the light reflect off the wall, and I didn't take not one picture of the packaging. I bought every single unit that I can find, and dude, they flew off the shelf like 7 a day.
I love it.
Just because of the picture.
So it's about presentation. It's that information you're giving them. That's it. That's what you were saying. So, I mean, our weakness that if we got our presentation game up, and you like, it's like when you go in for the deal for a record deal, you got to make sure you're showing the people, hey, I'm business. This is me. You know, it's like, let's go. You know, let's go.
Right. Yeah. And the reason I mentioned that though is like I watch a lot of live listings, and sometimes it's more about the more I list, the more I can sell. See, I'm a little opposite with that. And you know, by all means, do whatever works for you. I'm not, you know, everybody has a different business model. But for me, like I'll get more money, I'll get, you know, more sales. I sell a little faster when I take my time and I put a little bit of effort into the picture itself.
Exactly.
There's a guy named Andy Sameta. He used to show up a lot more, and he was a fun guy to watch. I liked him because he was kind of playful, but sharp cat. He would, and I'm pretty sure it was him, and maybe it was a couple others, but they said it's not about the quantity of your listings; it's about the quality. And for him, you know, he could have had like 100 listings at the most, maybe 50 or something, but they were like high-end stuff, and they would sell fast. It was all about, you know, what's the term that they use? You know, how fast does it sell? You know,
a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and
That's the same
he
thing
was
for
like,
me.
thank you, you know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Well, let me just say this much, and then I want to hear you. So back to what I was saying about that art piece. I'd rather sell a high-end art piece and spend an hour listing it, knowing that I'm going to bank $350 off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
$1. I'm gonna give it that time, and I let me tell you something today. I took some nice pictures. I was like all about the lighting, and I had that nice backdrop. And I put so much detail in there. I gave all the information so that this person's going to go, oh, heck yeah. We just went to the museum. That's a legit piece. I want that. For 350, I'll invest in that, you know? And it's like, they get it because this guy was a high-end architect, but it was like the Frank Lloyd Wright of Mexico. You know, he was like, this guy was off the hook. And I actually remembered him from my art days. And I went, yeah, I can't believe I found this. I mean, you know, but it's like there's that regional connection. So like if you're in a region and you know what to look for, that can work to your advantage as a strength. Give us a strength of finish what you were going to say though. Do you remember? And I probably broke your train of thought, I'm sure.
I don't know.
sorry, Julie. I'm excited to have you here. So you guys, if you don't know, this is 3Gen Hustle. His links are down below. Like, subscribe to him. Show him a little love because he's fairly new to the community. The whole idea behind Week 2, Strong 2 is they're fairly new in terms of content creation, but they are resellers and they've been in our community. And you know what? I think some of the stronger ones are the new ones that are starting. You guys are fresh. You guys are not, you know, afraid to talk about stuff, or at least you talk about it from an open mind. And you know, whole, like in Zen, the practice of Zen, people talk about is called beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is where you learn like the most because you're not tainted yet. Like, oh, you've been watching this content for 20 years. And then you're stuck in your ways. You know, I like that you took time back in your regiment to go, maybe I need to pull back. Let me think about this at length. Let me take care of myself first. That's hard for resellers to do because we push ourselves. We don't eat sometimes. We don't sleep. We stay up. We're always grinding for that money. And then what's neglected? You know what I mean? So do you have a strength for that you think a reseller has that maybe other jobs don't have? Or even if it's a content creator kind of perspective or a content creator that's a reseller?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, the biggest strength is just the time, right? So you're not told when you can take a break, when you can eat lunch, you know what I'm saying? Like just having that time with my kids, with my family, where I could just maneuver my schedule however I want. Sometimes if, you know, there's a bill to pay or, you know, you have an expense, you know, you're putting in 8, 9, 10 hours a day and you know what I'm saying? It pays off. So I love that about it.
Yeah. I was just reading what Hyphy Gold, his name is Topher. He's out of San Francisco. What he was writing, because I can't break 700 actives, but that's a good thing for me. You know, there are months I don't break 600. You know, but your ROI I was talking about earlier. You know, bring the guap. You know, it's like, yeah, you gotta. That's just, you know, I think it's just important that we make these connects. Thank you for being here today because this is a new segment. So you and Aaron were gracious enough to give us your time, and we just want to make this a different perspective about this. Luis and I, how long have we been doing this? I don't even know what episode this is. We're like going on 20. No, it's like it's pretty new as far as YouTube comes, but we've been doing this like already 20 episodes almost. Maybe next week you know, we wanted to say 2021's here. What can we gift to everybody that's resellers? What can we do to help tighten that niche? You know, you're here. I see that you're here to stay. It sounds like you got a lot of good things going on. Tell us, what would you tell us about your page or anything you want to say? And by the way, why do you have two different names? In terms of Instagram, I noticed you don't call yourself 3Gen there.
So it's a little bit of the things I learned in branding. I'm trying to apply a lot of that knowledge that I have from the music industry and see how it translates into this community. So I'm doing that strategically, kind of like a trial, see how it goes. And then if it doesn't work, I'll change it up because honestly, like I'm trying to get my father-in-law to do videos and then my son to do videos as well. So eventually the 3Gen YouTube thing will be all three of us, and then I'll be pick flip from 3Gen, then my father-in-law. So, you know, we'll see where that goes.
Oh, I see what you mean. So you all can have your own. Okay, now I get it a little clearer. That'd be great. That would be nice because the brand is 3Gen.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a universal thing between the three of you. So whoever's on the torch. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. I did want to take
good.
time out to really thank you guys for, you know, even inviting me on the show. That really helps me with the things that I struggle with. And Luis, I want to thank you because you were the very first person to reach out to me when I was like in the chats, in the communities, and you were just very genuine and asking me questions and like genuinely interested in who I was and what I did, and that, you know, you ain't have to do that. And so I really, really appreciate that.
No, man, anytime, bro. It's like I always say this to everybody. I always say it on here all the time. I treat everybody the same, whether you're the newbie that's coming in or you're the guy that has 500K subscribers. I treat everybody the same. I don't pick favorites. I keep it mutual with everybody. I treat everybody with respect and the way we got to treat each other and support each other in this community. That's what makes our community the tight knit that it is.
Otherwise, you can't be a mindful merchant. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, how are you supposed to be like you did? I love your thing. You're like, it's all about up here.
Yep.
But it's not here. You know, if you don't keep an open mind and an open heart,
Yep.
I think we have a playing field out here in YouTube. You know, YouTube's kind of, to me, I look at it as like a new West. You know what I mean? There's a lot of fortitude and gold nuggets out there, but there's also a lot of disinformation, you know, and it's like, I think we need to find where our comfort zones are, set our boundaries, make our relationships as tight as we can. And like I said, you know, Luis is the first one to say it I think it was on our first or second show. He says, this place is for everybody. Everybody's welcome. And I said, that's what our show is about.
We welcome everybody and anybody. To me, we don't just pick, okay, only these people come in. Nope. Everybody that wants to be in our show, they're more than welcome.
Reseller's a reseller. If you're here to resell, you have something to share. You have a voice.
Yep.
You know? And we all have something to give. We may just have different perspectives and different insights, and our wisdoms will be different, of course. But that's how we learn. And the thing is are we here to learn? Or are we here to like say, oh, I know it all, da 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 da? Because like the guy that talks a lot too much sometimes. I mean, we all do like to talk, but we gotta like, you know, be here and be genuine. That's the you know, the gratitude that comes out of like, I think the whole onset of being a mindful merchant is to be aware. And if you're aware, you're conscious. You know, that's when I was like, I like that. You got to be conscious all the time because things are changing. The one constant thing is change. And I think the one strength we can all learn is that we remember that we're always learning. And I don't care if you're the guy that has 200,000 in YouTube followers, they're thirsty too. Trust me, you know. And we're having some big names come back on our show, and we're gonna like, you know, we were grateful. Like Christopher Daily Refinement, you've probably seen him and you're aware. One of the smartest guys out there. You know, people may not understand or get his strategies, but what he does is he affords it. You know, it's there. Yeah, sometimes it's at a cost, but it's also he has free segments. But the idea is the application of that knowledge is always to reach higher levels. You know, we do to refine ourselves daily. Yeah, I mean, you know, we've had, you know, other big names, and so Luis may have somebody can come and, you know, pretty soon we got some fun stuff, but it doesn't matter because we want everybody. Everybody is on the equal playing field here, you know. So we're just grateful you're here. You're
definitely
relevant. You got a voice. We're gonna have you come back again another time, or maybe we'll just feature you for a full hour, and we'll see how your growth and your potential has gone and how you feel about what's been happening in not just the community, but for yourself and where you've been. We're just grateful. Anything about your story you'd like to share a little more?
Man, right now, no, nothing. That's a kind of another struggle of mine. Like my wife is a very private person, and a lot of the reason why I left my old life was because I was losing her and my family, and so I can't share everything just out of respect for her, and she doesn't
you can share your story as a reseller.
Yeah, no. Just
a little bit.
Whatever, just your stuff. You don't have to get into your personal stuff, you know.
Yeah,
we
no,
don't
I'm
have
not saying that you
know.
guys are asking me to do that. Just saying like that's another struggle. Like a lot of people are interested. Like, you know, I've done a lot of cool things, but I, you know, it's I gotta respect.
What I hear you say is like what a lot of us say here, and that we always have that arduous balance. It's like
it's a balance,
That's where I think I asked you the question, like, you know, how do you limit your your social media time versus like our personal house time. Like for me, it's always like Luis is like, what are you doing right now? I got to go in the kitchen and clean that hot mess up, you know, it's getting out of hand. And it's like, you know, you want to keep your household always organized and structured, because otherwise, why are you doing the reselling? You know, we're all hustling because we're there for that reason, because we got kids, we got family, we got things that we like to do outside of our, you know, maybe we talk about it sometimes. We should like, hey, I went to the state park. I did camping for a week. You know, that's something different. But that's what that person likes to do. You know, and it's like that's what you do. You know, but we look forward to following your journey. We want to thank you for being here. Stick around.
Definitely.
Appreciate you guys.
We're gonna close out a minute, but stay on for a second. We just want to tell everybody in the chat. There was a lot of people here today. I'm sorry if I see Perfecting Pearls. Try Flippers is here. Hey. Good to see you, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
You know, we got so many people in here, and if you guys don't know Julian, he's down below. He's new. He's here to stay. He's got a really unique style. He's a good guy, and I from what I've seen so far, and I still gotta kind of follow you a little hardcore, Julian. And his name is 3 Generation, and reselling. You got to watch his edits. His edits are clever. He's sneaky. I love that one you did with Joey. It was good. You know, like, what's going on here? You know, I'm like, I want to do that. You know, it probably like, oh, anybody can do that. I can't. And my editing skills suck, but I'm working. That's my strength. That's my weakness. You know, but you know, you got a lot going on. So thank you guys. This is week 2, strong 2. We had Aaron. We had Julian here today. Luis, you want to close?
Yeah, I just want to thank Aaron for coming in with us today, and of course Julian as well. I'm glad that you were able to come on. And like I said, make sure you guys go check out his channel. You know, if you guys like his content, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys like his videos. Follow him on Instagram.
Comments, show some love.
Yeah, all his links are in the description, so make sure you guys go down there and support him. He's doing good things, and you know, the only thing I see him from now on is just going up. So. Let's keep supporting. Let's keep supporting them, and let's keep supporting each other. And like I always say, if one of us levels up, we all get up. You know, we all level up. So let's keep this going. And like I said, you guys, thanks to everybody in the chat that keeps coming back and supporting what we do.
Romero is here. Mateo.
Yeah, Mateo, thanks for coming in, buddy. I know a bunch of people coming in and out.
It's crazy. That's a lot of love.
Pearls. Yeah, man. And as I said, for me, I'll be having an auction tomorrow, not on my channel. I'll be on Global Voodoo's channel tomorrow, so make sure you guys check that out. Yeah, it should be a good auction. I know everybody's thinking like,
Global Voodoo.
Yep,
oh my God.
I'll be on with Global Voodoo tomorrow.
That's awesome. You guys go check him out, and check out Mike's Global Voodoo. Check out his channel tomorrow. That's gonna be a fun one. Even if you don't buy into auctions, come watch.
Come hang out. Yeah.
Luis is going to bring some fire. I know he is. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Mindful Merchants. This has been Monday till next week. I believe our guest is that Leslie next week. Oh, we got Leslie next week. Oh, check it out. Check out. That'll be on my channel next week. And we just want to say, maintain your focus and elevate. Thank you for being a mindful merchant. Take care.
Guys, have a good one.
Guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, Julian. Oh.